everyone, this is your Unemployed Chef. For today's video, we'll be making a breakfast egg tortilla. To get started, you would need about 9 small mushrooms, 2 tablespoons of butter, which I'm melting in my pan right now. And this is on a low heat, and that is a 3 on my stove, or you could say a low-high heat. So what I'm going to do is take my mushrooms and cook them down. And this is a lot because I'm making this breakfast for multiple people. So this is for 3 people. And while these are cooking down, I'm going to put in my onions. You can dice your onions, you can slice them. It doesn't really matter. And actually, what I'm going to do is cook all of my mushrooms, onions, and tomatoes down. And then I'm going to throw them back into a bowl and whisk it together with my 6 large eggs. You're going to need some salt to taste, black pepper to taste, garlic powder to taste, parsley to taste, and some smoked paprika to taste. So my mushrooms have cooked down mostly. And now I'm going to put in my tomatoes. And make sure you cook your tomatoes down a lot because they have a lot of water and you do not want your eggs to be very watery. Okay. Stir. And you want to cook until there's some browning on your onions and or when they start to become translucent. And it's okay if you put a little salt on your mushrooms, onions, and tomatoes. And I will be putting in the tomatoes very soon. Make sure to not put too much. And be careful with your tomatoes because, especially if it's a ripe tomato, it has a lot of moisture in it. And that can make your eggs very, very watery. And this is pretty much any amount of tomato that you would like. So I don't have a definite measurement. But this tomato this is about 1/3 of a tomato half. And I'm just going to take these slices and to very roughly dice them. This is very ripe. I could use a very fresh tomato, but I prefer to just not waste my food. So I'm just going to take these and just drop them into my pan. And now I'm just going to stir them and let these cook down as well. You could use a frying pan for this, or that orange pan that I'm always using in my videos, or most of my earlier videos. But I prefer the cast iron because it's just a God-tier pan. It gives me a very, very nice crust on things. It retains heat very well. It's very good for sauteing, and it's perfect for toasting breads, especially tortillas. Okay, and if you look closer, you can see that right around the edges my onions have browned. So all we have to do is wait for the tomatoes to release some more of their moisture. So I'm actually going to set my timer to, I'll say, 4 minutes. And now we wait. While they're cooking, I'm going to beat my 6 eggs. And then I'm going to season with my paprika, my garlic powder, my salt, oh, I'm sorry, my pepper, my actual salt, and just a little bit of parsley. Okay, so as you can see, my tomatoes have wrinkled up a lot, so that means that most of the moisture has been cooked out, which is perfect. Everything is cooked down. And what I'm going to do is spoon out this mixture and put it back into my bowl with my 6 beaten eggs. This is to ensure that everybody gets an equal amount of mushrooms, onions, and tomatoes. Don't worry if you can't get every last bit, but try to get most of it. Whisk everything together like this. And then pour about 1/3 of this mixture out into the pan. It's not going to be perfect, but that's fine. And what you're going to do is allow the eggs to set around the pan. So if you see the eggs turning white on the edges, that means that it's starting to set. And then all you have to do is take your tortilla, make sure this spotted side is facing towards you, and just place it down into the middle of the mixture. Press down, and this is going to act like a glue. Next, take your spatula and push the runny eggs to the edges of the tortilla. And this would take about 2 minutes, or you could say 3 minutes. And don't worry, it's not going to be a very hard egg. And keep doing that until everything, it doesn't have to fit completely to the edge of the tortilla, but you want most of it, because it'll be much easier to flip. And set the timer for 3 minutes. And then we wait. Okay, so my timer went off. And now it's time to flip. So loosen the edges of your egg with your spatula. And then you're going to take your mixture and flip. So at this step, we're going to toast the tortilla. And voila. Don't worry, it's not hard. It's just that this pan does a good job of creating a nice browning on any type of food. And I'm going to set my timer to another 3 minutes. And the way that you could tell if the tortilla is toasted is of course, if you just look at the tortilla, or I noticed that the tortilla would smell like a piece of toasted bread. It would have like a slightly sweet smell. You'll know it if you eat a lot of hard shell tacos, especially. So, okay, and here is the final product. This is not good to use my hands, but I survived. And now it's time to roll. So depending on your tortilla, it may be easiest to roll if it's really soft, but if it's toasted, you might have to put some finger work into it. So I'm just going to let this cool down for a minute because it is very hot. And now it's time to roll. Take one edge and just bring it over. And I like mine quite toasty. And there you have it. You have a breakfast tortilla roll. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and complain. As always, the recipe will be in the description box below. This is your unemployed chef. Always chase that yum.